Hello, everybody. It is David Knox. Welcome to Real Estate Training by DavidKnox.com. First Monday Administrator and Manager webinar, Monday, June 6, 2012. Nice to have you all here. Thank you for your membership. And as a way of starting, let's go through the agenda. First of all, the next one will be Monday, July 11th. Because of the 4th of July holiday, we usually delay that a week. And today we're going to do a bit of a technical update, talk a little bit about the June 2016 videos, and we have our guest presenter, Donna, who's going to talk about 30 days worth of open houses in 30 open houses in 30 days. So let's begin. In fact, I'm joined by our Vice President, Rob Tronson. So Rob, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can tell our members some of the new technical things that have happened.
Hello, everybody. Yes, we did have a couple of technical updates that I wanted to make sure that you know about. We've sent out an email for two items. One of them is with the most important one is with the SSO. So if you have an intranet that you're signing your agents, if your agents are signing through your intranet to get to our online training, there's a particular URL that's been changed. So instead of the / real estate training by davidknox.com, there needs to be a www now. So we had to standardize our protocol. This is across the board. So we just want to make sure, and this only affects those companies that are using the single sign-on in their intranet. We've been calling the companies directly, and we've been sending out emails. And this is just another way to make sure that you get this information. So make sure your IT people know that they need www. in front of the login URL. And if you have any questions about that, please call me here at the office. That's 952-835-4477. We also have expanded the user role of our sub-administrators. So a sub-administrator was somebody that was designated to receive emails that the administrator received, but we've received several requests from administrators to give administrator access to other agents or managers within your company. So we've done that right now. The sub-administrator will be able to access anything you can as an administrator, so they can access action plans, modify curriculums, track views, add users, delete users. The only thing a sub-administrator will not be able to do is see the invoice or credit card information or anything like that. So any billing information still goes to the administrator. And David will show you here exactly how to get into and designate a sub-administrator. So if you go into your user list, please click on the edit icon, which is the little pencil on the second to the last column. And if David could do that, if you have access, then you will drill down into that particular individual's information, and then you will see roles down there on the second to the bottom, and you will have a sub-administrator checkbox. So that's all you need to do is do that, and then update user, and then you will have a sub-administrator. So they can share the fun of being an administrator. If you need to know who your administrator is, David, if you could go back to your user list, we can show them how to find your users. There is across the top of the box there, we have a couple of radio buttons. It says all users, manager, or agents, or sub-administrators. So you can click on sub-admins, and that'll give you a list of who's been designated as a sub-administrator. I hope that makes sense. Again, if you have any questions about this or how to add a sub-admin or what their roles are, please contact me, or you can contact Mary here at the office, and we can help you through that. I appreciate it. Those are the updates, and I'll hand it back to David. Thanks.
Okay, yeah. By the way, the reason we did that is when somebody signs up for a training, we often have 3 people that all need access. Usually one person is or the accounting person, and they're going to use credit card information. Then we have another person who's the owner of the company and wants to see everything. And then we'll have perhaps somebody in charge of training or human resources, and they want to manage the training side of it. So the sub-administrator was the solution to that. And we hope you all find that helpful. And also, those of you who have an intranet, just know that if you want people to sign in through your intranet, we can arrange a JavaScript or something like that and get you in. So it's a nice feature.
And David, I should mention that we did put that information into the manager resources. So when you do log in as the administrator, you can there's a button in RET and manager resources where you can download that information as well. He's clicking on it now, and then you'll see technical update June 2016 under documents
right here.
there.
Okay. All right.
That'll be the information you can, if you need to gain access to it.
Perfect. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. We covered the technical updates. One other thing, the accountability plans that you all have access to, once we created those, they are static, they're not dynamic, which means that we have to update those as we go. So in taking a look at the new agent plan, the videos we updated this month, KFT 99 and Real Estate Live 27, fit perfectly into the introduction for prospecting and sphere of influence. I have put those in the master templates, but for those of you who have already cloned your new agent plan, you're going to need to go in and add those and put them in the proper sequence. For the Rising Star plan, I took the same four. They're so good that they belonged in both places. I don't care if you've been in this business 10 or 20 years. The videos we uploaded on fanatical prospecting are so good. I mean, I've been in sales since I was 16 years old. So after 50 years of selling, I go through and I learned a whole lot from this. So I just think anybody who sells anything will enjoy that. So summary is go into your accountability plans. If you've not cloned it, then clone it. If you have, then go in and edit them. And let me see. I think we covered that. Here we go. Let's talk about our new videos. A client of mine recommended the book Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blunt, pronounced differently than it's spelled. And so I read the book and I got into it and I went, gosh, this is really good stuff. It's just so succinct and it really backed up so many of the things that we've all been teaching forever. And it fully applied to real estate. I don't think there's a word in there that doesn't apply to the real estate business. And one of the key parts that came out of this book is that prospecting is interrupting. And I have more reason to say, well, I don't like to bother people. I don't like to interrupt them. I don't like to ask for their time. Well, guess what? If you're not interrupting people, you're not prospecting. And it just lays it on the line and says, hey, that's the deal. It's like if you're a quarterback, you're going to throw the ball. If you don't like that, don't be a quarterback. So I arranged a Skype interview with Jeb, and he was very gracious to do that. It was on April 30th. And we interviewed him. We edited it up and put it in 4 different segments over 14 chapters. And these are if you want, you can do a screenshot of that, or obviously you can log in and see. But we had 14 different questions. He's very succinct, and the feedback that's posted on it, people are already really enjoying the videos. And you can go to jebblunt.com and learn more about him and those 4 segments. In fact, let's go back to the site. So here are the 4 videos, KFT 99. We decided to introduce it in a Knox First Tuesday because we know a lot of people watch those every month. And then I thought, let's take the next 3 parts and put them into Real Estate Live 27 parts 1, 2, and 3. And let's see, I think we already have some pretty good comments on that. Yeah, a couple of early comments here. I don't know why this is running slow. There we go. Very informative, good tips. Got to block out time to prospecting for prospecting. So I'm just very pleased with the interview that he gave me, and I think in fact, by the way, I hope you all buy the book on fanatical prospecting and make it absolute assigned reading, then have them listen to the videos, then have them do workshop, have them do role play. Really, you got to beat this to death. You know, we talk a lot about the advanced skills of building rapport and listing presentations and feature benefits selling, but the first step is you have got to get the appointment. You got to prospect, and across the board, I'm just finding agents not doing it. You all know it. It frustrates you to no end. So hopefully these videos will turn your summer around. So another video we added was KFT 98 S1. S1 is support feature, and on KFT 98 it was on event marketing, and one of our members, Amy Hummer, did a brainstorming session in her office, and I thought she took it to the next level, and the audience brainstormed 3 different sections. So take 2.5 minutes and listen to that video, and then do the brainstorming in your own offices. So now I am ready to introduce Donetta. I did a seminar for Hunt Real Estate up in New York some while back, and I believe Donetta was in the audience, and we talked about open houses and the power of it, and Donetta was motivated to do 30 open houses in 30 days, and she can describe it better than me. And she was on a radio show, interviewed for that, and really became known for doing that. So Donetta, are you there?
I am here.
Well, first of all, thank you for being on our webinar. our first Monday webinar. You've been in the business. You're a sales associate with Hunt Real Estate. And what city are you in New York State?
I am in a suburb of Buffalo, New York, but
Oh, yeah.
mostly Buffalo.
You guys
Western
get
New York.
you guys get serious snow, right?
Oh yeah, but we love it. You have to love it to live here.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
I've been in the business for a little over a year now, and I'm loving it. But it definitely needed some motivation from your seminar to kickstart my career.
Well, thank you very much. And so tell us how you got motivated to do these open houses.
Well, as you said, I attended your seminar at the Albright Knox Gallery, and you told us a story about an agent, Bob Wolf, who had an open house every day for a year and sold $30 million in real estate. And I needed that motivation. Here, we slow down a lot in the winter. So I needed something to get me going and also to be able to compete. You know, as a newer agent, you have so much invested into the business, but it's hard to compete with someone with 20 years of, experience. So this was a way that I could separate myself and stand out against everyone else, since no one in the area has ever done 30 open houses in 30 days. So
Good. Well, good. You sent me some notes, so let's go through. Tell us about this. What was this? Was this a flyer, postcard? What was this?
Yes, this was my flyers I put all over Western New York, anywhere and everywhere that I could. I also posted all over the internet, Facebook, of course, and it got me a lot of business before it even started. So I started putting these out the month prior just to get people talking about it. And sure enough, I was being called the 30-day girl, so it was working. It definitely worked.
Good for you. Well, let's go in now. I'll change the slides to match the notes you sent me, and you let me know when you want to move on, but let's take us through some of the numbers.
Yeah, so in 1 month, so in 30 days, I came in contact with 384 prospects, and I had 27 open houses. We had a few hiccups. Houses were flying off the market, which was a problem, so I had to hurry up and find another one to hold open. But it went really, really well. So if you're trying to, if your agents are trying to find prospects in any way, this is definitely the best way to do it. 384 people, regardless if they're working with an agent or not, you're reaching out and meeting with these people. I did post on Facebook because it's free marketing. I tried to do all of this without print ads and costs and things like that, just for newer agents, less invested. And people responded to that. I received 16 messages, asking about where the open house was and what was going on, and turned into clients. I've done 6 transactions from this so far. I have 2 pending, and I've gotten 9 referrals from doing this so far.
Well, 6
so
transactions. That's amazing, Donetta. 6 transactions and 2 pending. I mean, I'd say that's a pretty good month.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely exceeded my expectations of this. I wanted to do well, but yeah, it's been amazing. This is definitely a way that you can get out there and get your name out there without costing anything but time, really. So.
Right. And you know exactly 384. Tell me how you kept track.
Oh, well, you have to stay very organized. And I have everyone in a drip campaign, so they get automated emails from me. I sent out personal cards to every single person that came through any of my open houses, as well as emails. And I'm still in contact with a lot of them, and plan to stay that way for at least another year. So holidays, they'll get something from me, and just randomly, if they ask any questions, I keep notes on all that. That's how I'm doing it.
Good. Well, let's go on. Next slide was your most popular days.
Oh, yeah. So typically here in Western New York, we have our open houses Saturday and Sundays. I did open houses every day of the week, and Fridays was actually my big hit. I did 5 to 7 the first week, and I got a lot of people towards the end of it. So the next week I decided to move the time to 6 to 8. and I got a ton of people, a lot more people than the week prior. And a few people had mentioned they don't get home until, 6:30 or so after rush hour and coming home from the office, and they had enough time to make it to the open house. So I had people in my open houses on Fridays until, it was closing time, until 7:59. It was amazing. And I actually had more traffic on a Friday rather than on my Sundays, which is a huge thing to, out here we don't have good weather except for 3 months, so people don't want to spend their Saturday and Sundays at open houses. So the Friday evening was a very, very good time.
Well, that's the first time I've ever heard that. I just fixed the typo and put the dash that it was the time between 5 and 7. That's fascinating. I'd be interested for everybody on the webinar to see what they find in their own market. Very cool to hear. And talk about your sign-in sheets.
Sign-in sheets. So typically you have one sign-in sheet, and you hope and pray that they sign in. A lot of people don't like to, but I put one at the door when you first walk in with a sign that says, please sign in and feel free to walk around. I'm in, the kitchen or whatever if you have any questions. And then I have another place I call my post. So it's usually in the kitchen or the dining room where I can spread out my information. And I have another sign-in sheet there. And this worked really, really well because some people didn't sign in, but once they started asking me questions or requested information, then they could sign in right there. So I'll ask them, oh, did you sign in? I can send that information right to your email or mail it to you or whatever it is, and it gets people to sign in more. So then you can put them in drip campaigns or keep in contact. I also had an iPad that I carry around with me for one to access the ML if they have, questions about another home. But also I can have them sign in there and I can help them. Elderly people and stuff don't really know how to use those or whatever the case. So that worked really, really well.
Wow.
By having multiple.
I think that's a great idea, asking more than once, and I think it goes to the point. Kind of, I don't know. I walk into a store and I don't take a basket because I'm just running to get something, Home Depot or grocery or whatever. Then I'm halfway through the store and I see one or two things. I want to buy more, but then I don't have a basket. So I've always thought stores should have another set of baskets back in for those people who say, maybe I would.
Perfect analogy.
So that's kind of what you did there.
Yeah, and it did work because I was keeping track of, both sign-in sheets and labeled them which area they were in.
So what was the percentage sign-in on the first one versus the second one?
The second one always had more.
Wow.
The second one, and I've always had more than a lot of people do not like to sign in. They don't like giving out their information. And I'm very much a very lax agent. I think that's the reason that a lot of people go to open houses is because they don't want to feel the pressure. So I try to keep it as non-pressure as I can. So handing someone a sign-in sheet as soon as they walk in the door saying you have to sign in, it doesn't set the mood right. So this was more of a, if you want to sign in, you sign in there. If not, you can sign in by the information. So it worked out really, really well.
Well, yeah, I agree with that too. I hate to give them the bum's rush at the front door. A lot of people say, well, the owners requested. BS. I've been in this business 40 years, never heard an owner request that ever. Somewhere they certainly have. But I've always felt that, take a look around and before you go, stop by and see me and then offer them some value. Hey, if something else comes on the market, you want to know about it? Yes, great. How would I get that to you? So, yeah, I agree with that philosophy. Which leads then to the next point is knowing comparable homes in the area. I think this is great. Talk about that.
Yeah, so having your comparables is so important because people most likely aren't going to love the house that you're in, and they may have some, something that house doesn't have and they need, or you need to know what's also available in your area. So what I do is I lay out all comp sheets for other houses in the area, lower and higher, because something, they may need a two-car garage and it's $20,000 more. Well, you'll have that. And you have full pictures. That's the biggest thing. Have all the pictures lined up, have all your specs, and know what it is. So then when they say something, you can say, oh, well, did you see this one over here? And you can show them and be ready. It's so important, and I got so many buyers just and new clients by doing that, just by knowing your information. There's this epidemic of for sale by owners right now, so you need to be ready and know what you're talking about. So it's very important to know that, your comparables in the area.
Yeah. I think another thing it does for you and all agents is it it makes you look like you know what's going on rather than, I don't know, I could find out for you. I mean, it raises your level of
Exactly.
professionalism.
And it doesn't take a lot of time. I held open houses, in areas I wasn't that familiar with just for doing this campaign. So it's important to know the area, and it takes about 15 minutes, to look up what's selling in that area, especially with all the apps that we have now on the internet. So definitely take the time to do your homework for sure.
Great point. And I guess along with that is being aware of other open houses.
Oh yeah, you will. People come through your open house, and they're usually coming from one open house to another or attending another one after that. So if you already know the differences between the houses and what you're pretty much competing out there, you can be knowledgeable about those too and strike up a conversation about that. And they will ask you questions like, oh, I just came out from this house on 123 Main Street. Do you know if it had this? Or I can't remember. So if you have those spec sheets ready, or if you already know the information, it's a good way to start a conversation. Also, to recommend them to go to those, and they'll remember you from that way too. It's just, you want to be able to be as personal as possible in order to keep them contacting you.
Great information, in which I guess that continues to a macro instead of a micro area.
Yeah, know where the parks are, know where there is to eat if someone wants to grab a bite to eat. I had a couple people that asked me where the closest pizzeria was because they were starving. So, and then know also too events that are in the area. It's also good to, like, if there's festivals, so then you can refer to it. Oh, there's festivals at, this park on Tuesdays. They have live music. Things like that might perk up a buyer and get them more interested as well. And you could take 5 minutes before your open house and drive around the neighborhood to find out. So.
When I listen to your presentation today, I think about all the agents going, oh, I can't make any money. How do you make money? How do all these top agents make money? And I listen to you, and it's, it's fundamentals. It's hard work, doing the logical things to do.
But it's time. I didn't spend a dime for this entire campaign. I did that on purpose. At first, I was going to do a lot of print ads. That was my thing. I was going to put it in magazines. I was going to go crazy. But then I had another agent who I'm good friends with who started at the same time as me. And he said, well, I couldn't do that. Some agents are starting out and they can't afford to do that. So I paid nothing and came in contact with 384 buyers and had 6 transactions. So it's definitely a great way, to cut the costs and be out there. And 5 minutes of driving is worth it.
Well, about 50% of this industry wouldn't do 5 minutes of driving, and they still want to get paid.
Oh, that's true.
Well, talk about your contact information now. Obviously, you get one to call you.
I am very strict on not answering any questions that I am not licensed to do. So legal questions, mortgage questions, anything like that, I have cards on hand with my card also stapled to the back. And I hand those over. If you have any questions, I have the perfect person to answer this question. Give them a call. I'll let them know you're calling. What's your name? Did you sign in? Okay, I'll let them know that you're going to give them a call and have questions about X, Y, and Z. And this way you're not going to get in trouble by answering a question that you're not, licensed to do. And they're going to get the correct information, and they're still going to, use you because your card's right on the back of there. So that works really, really well as well.
And the people to whom you're referring, they know you're doing this, right? So they know it came from you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I worked with a couple mortgage brokers and attorneys during this campaign, and they were all for it and sent over some donuts for me, so that worked.
That takes me to a video that, right here, Become a Vendor Resource. I don't know if you've seen that video, but it talks about, being in a position to know all the vendors that you would refer, so that fits into it.
Right. That way you're not saying, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. You'd have to ask someone else. You want to always seem knowledgeable, and if you don't, you can refer them to someone that does know the answers. So definitely recommend that.
And then talk a little bit about this.
Yes. So you want to keep your buyers in the house as long as possible, and food and beverages are a great way to do that. You know, they stick around a little bit, and then you have the opportunity to speak with them a little bit longer, get a little personal, and also kids coming through open houses. Parents are always worried that they're going to break something. They can't, you know, you can't walk around a house as calmly as you could if you were by yourself. So what I did was I printed a picture of a house with my information on the bottom, of course, and I had crayons so the kids can sit there and color while their parents looked around the house, and it actually worked really well. I picked up a client by doing this. She hung the picture on the fridge, and she couldn't remember my information, and then she remembered it was on the coloring page, and she called me. So just little things like that can make a huge difference, you know, making everyone as comfortable as possible.
I think that's great. I love your little ideas that do big results. I know somebody's going to say, well, what do you do about food and beverages and people spilling around the house? I know somebody's going to ask that, so I'll just ask.
Yeah, I keep everything in my post. You know, it's usually the kitchen or the dining room. I try to keep it in that a small, wherever there's tile floor, easy to clean, never near the carpet. If they do start walking around, I just ask them politely to, you know, please stay over there, because I am worried about that. Also, don't have grape juice or wine. Stick to water and Sprite or something. But it hasn't been a problem. In the 27 open houses of that month, I didn't have anything come up. So you're pretty safe as long as you stay in the kitchen.
And take notes.
Oh, yeah. Like I said a million times during this, you want to be as personal as possible. These people are looking for a home. You know, you're going to be with them a lot, showing them a lot of houses. So what I did was I kept notes. If they mentioned they had a dog or children or a wedding coming up, I would write it down, you know, not right in front of them, but after they left, I'd make a note of their name and, you know, they had a dog or getting married on June 6th or something like that. And one example was there was a man that came through an open house. They're getting married. His wife actually had her bridal shower that day. So I told him to make sure that you pick up, you know, flowers for her and you show up early or whatever it was. And I sent him a text reminding him, don't forget the flowers or something, just joking around. They actually called me the next day and thanked me for saying that, and the wife was joking around with me and stuff, and now I'm sending them, you know, a card for their wedding, because I looked up when their wedding was and things like that. So anything personal that you can do to keep in contact with them and to be memorable, that's the biggest thing. So they don't just seem like another client. They want to feel special. So this is a way to do that by keeping notes.
That is amazing. Yeah, you do some amazing stuff here. Let's talk about the buyer packets.
Buyer packets, super easy. I give them to anyone that asks me a question. Anything from the process to a copy of the contract is a great thing. Usually people don't see a contract until the day they're signing it. So giving them the opportunity to look through it, if they have any questions beforehand. The transfer phone list is my #1 hit. It has all of the numbers you need to transfer your utilities before you move. And I also put my name and picture and all my information on the bottom of every single page in the packet. And those were really, really great items. I even got calls from other agents asking me about them and how I went about it and all that other stuff. So those are really, really, really good things to have.
Wow, that is great. And your final point.
Yes, your attitude. By day 23, I did not want to be at that open house when the sun was finally shining, but you have to stay positive. You know, if you seem like you're not having a good time and you don't want to be there, you're going to give off that feeling, and people aren't going to want to be there either. So always stay positive. You know, you want referrals. That's how our business works. So even if you hit 20 bumps going through a transaction, if you're there for them for those 20 calls a day and you reassure them that everything's going to be okay, they're going to refer you. It's not going to be just a negative experience from them. So stay positive and keep your energy up, even when you're having a rough day. So that was my 30 days.
Oh man, I got to tell you, I have, I don't know, I've been in this business 40 years. I've seen a lot of agents and talked a lot about open houses, but I am more impressed with what you presented now than I think I've ever heard from any other agent. And I think your philosophy is perfect, your execution is perfect, and just to know that you invest $0 and end up with 6 transactions, 2 more on the way, and 9 referrals, I mean, that's just incredible. So when people tell me they can't make money in the business, I just shake my head and go, really, really, really? So,
Tell them to call me.
absolutely. Well, I'm not going to have them do that because it'll drive you crazy. But this webinar, as I mentioned, is really designed more at management. We don't have any agents on this webinar. But for those of you on it, I really believe that you should give the webinar link. You know, we record these, and I think you should pass the webinar link to all of your agents. We don't normally do that, but I think in this case we will. It is, you know, perfect techniques. So, Donna, thank you so much for your time. I mean, you've done a wonderful job in this. And you know, maybe next time out in New York, maybe we'll feature you in one of our videos and take it beyond just the webinar. So thank you very much. I'm going to just see if there's any questions. If anybody has any questions for Donetta, you can type them in, and I'll watch for them. But while I'm waiting for questions, I'll just wrap it up and say thank you, Donetta, for doing this. And as I've told many of you before, you're welcome to Skype me into your meetings, doing video conferences. I've been doing this, I don't know, I do it every week, and it seems to work very well. Oh, Donetta, good. Yeah. In fact, Bob Schultz, who is with your company, great job, kiddo. Ernie Pinkett said, well done. Well done, 3 exclamation marks. Hey, Bob, I'm glad to hear you're on the webinar. And so thanks very much. I'm just to see if there's any other questions from anybody. If there are, I'll relate them to you. While I'm doing that, quick commercial. By the way, I keep promoting our online consumer videos, Pricing Your Home to Sell, for which I'm probably most famous. They are online now, and you can. We also have a mobile app where you can send any video we have anytime you want to anybody, and you can play it on a mobile device, send it from a mobile device, play it on a computer. It's a great way to convert leads. We do have company subscriptions. So if you are a company and you want to get a group of 10 or 25 or 50 or whatever agents together, it is very, very, very economical into the economy of the scale on this. So I'm going to wrap up and go back to this slide. Thank you, Donetta, thank you for this. Ernie Pinker said this could be edited. You know what? That's a good idea. I suppose we could edit down just Donetta's part of it and have that sent out to agents. I think we'll do that. So any other questions? I'm going to wait a couple seconds here, see if anybody else. Bob Schultz says, yes, please edit that and make it available for agents. I think we'll do that. Again, Donetta, I am really, really impressed. Those are some of the best techniques I've ever heard on open houses ever, and I've been at this for a long, long time. So thank you, Donetta, and for all of our members, thank you so much for being members. And I'm going to stop the recording now, and thank you all for joining.